everybody's good. Onegashimasu. So I will read once again key testing number 22. The mind is an ungraspable thing that has no color, odor, or shape. However, because the mind and body are one, you can know the state of ungraspable mind by testing the body. This is key testing. A key test is not a test to determine strength or weakness. It is important that the person that performs a key test first experience unification of one's own mind and body, and then perform a correct test to let a partner know his or her state of mind. This morning, or this evening, depending on where you live, we're addressing the third principle of key testing, which is test others to support them, not to make them fail. Test others to support them, not to make them fail. When would we try to make someone fail? That doesn't make sense, right? None of us would do that on purpose. But somehow that does happen, actually quite often. And that's because we're not aware of our intention, our actual intention, when we're giving the test. And that comes about most likely because we're not understanding or not following the first two principles, which are testing the mind, not the body, and testing according to the level of development. So testing the mind and not the body. What's the fundamental thing that we forget to do? Is testing the body instead of the mind. We forget to test the mind, so we end up testing the body instead of the mind, without the mind in our mind. We're only pushing against the body to see if there will be a reaction. This is not a key test, but this is mostly what people do for a key test. Don't you know? Does anybody out there do that? I'm sure you don't. So this is an easy thing to misunderstand, because when you see the teacher do it, you see him look, you see him touch, and what looks like he pushes, right? So it sounds like looking, it looks like looking, feeling, and pushing. But that's not what's happening, right? Once again, we look and we see the state of mind as much as possible. Further, we walk forward and we touch and we feel the state of stability or state of mind as much as possible. And we leave our hand here and ki is extending. And as ki is extending, the stability of the examinee is exposed, let's say. And so if the person is unstable, then automatically the examiner's hand moves forward. If they're not unstable, it doesn't go anywhere. But when the hand moves forward, that's not because you're pushing. This is the one critical moment in the key test. But if you haven't followed the correct procedure up until that point, you won't be able to do that. You will be tempted to push. And when we push, then we create a reaction, don't we? I mean, that's Newton's third law, right? For every force, there's an equal and opposite force. So whenever we push against someone, they automatically want to push back. Whenever we challenge someone in daily life, Look what's happening in the world today. It's a good, gigantic example. When we push against someone, they are forced to push back. Force causes force. There's no two ways about it. Right? Think about all the things that we do to try to convince another person of our point of view. Maybe we stand in the street and wave flags, and that's kind of being in someone's face. Are you really going to convince them by doing that you're right and they're wrong? I'm not so sure. Everything that we do to try to convince others is most often being pushy. In fact, we use that word push. It's being pushy. It's pushing the other person. And when we push, we cause an automatic reaction. So that's not very skillful. And so we want to learn to just extend ki and allow the universe to evolve in the way that it is automatically at this point in time evolving, not according to how we think it should evolve. See, all this is in a ki test. Just Toy Sensei got everything into this simple ki test. The second principle, is to test everyone according to their level of development. That means our level of calmness has to match their level of calmness. The level of calmness that we're asking for in a Jokyu test or a Chukyu test, Jokyu test or a Chuden test or Shoden test or Okuden test. We want to match exactly what that level is requiring of them. Now, if we're testing, like I'm testing in a seminar, we're giving a formal ki test, we know what that is. And when we're in the dojo, just practicing together with the teacher, he's supposed to let you know, I want you to do this level of test. I usually say Jokyu. So for the first level of mind test, so Shokyu and Chukyu are stability, physical stability tests. Jokyu and on up. And Jokyu is the beginning of mind tests, so on up from there is all testing the stability of mind, not the stability of body. You see? So this is very important, that we always match that and we understand that. Okay, if there are any questions about that or comments, we can get to that later. Let's begin with some key breathing. One other thing about this third principle, just because Sir Isaac Newton made that, or defined that third law, that doesn't mean that human beings are obliged to follow that. We're not locked into that triggered response or reactivity. So we cannot blame the other person, the examiner, for pushing us or doing something wrong in terms of giving the test. We can still pass the test. So from the perspective of the examinee, we want to maintain our own integrity, not blame our state of mind based on someone else. Our state of mind is our state of mind. We rest in the one point and so maintain mind-body unification, no matter what anyone else is doing. Sounds great, right? But it's very difficult because we all have triggered responses. We all have structures in us that cause us to automatically respond. So that's the wonderful thing about key testing in the dojo is we have the opportunity to constantly test these and refine these and dissolve those negative reactivity structures that are within us, probably since we were 3 or 4 years old. So that's why we do this at every single seminar. We're constantly reviewing the key tests so that we can all grow and develop together. All right, so please ask a question if you have one or respond.
Hello, Sensei.
Hello, Vernon.
I've found that the key tests experience the practical aspects of our practice. And instead of saying that sometimes the testing factor of whether to pass or fail, instead of using the testing phrase, would be more of an experience the love of our practice that comes to mind, that we're always developing and growing through our experiences.
Very nice. I like that. Sure, anytime we're emphasizing passing and failing, we're really encouraging the student to fail, are we? To be distracted from keeping one point resting in mind-body unification, or, as you say, experiencing the love of our practice. Same thing, right? So
Yeah.
we want to be encouraging and supportive. And that's, in fact, what this principle is. Don't, cause by your words or your actions or your intention, cause the student to fail the test. All right, thank you. Someone else, please.
Okay, Sensei. Is the unified state, does it change in your levels of development? Or is this feeling the same? But just that you can hold it longer, maybe. Is the feeling the same as you develop?
Yes.
The feeling.
Mind-body unification is mind-body unification.
Right.
Of course, the relative aspect of mind-body unification, even though it's an absolute state, the relative aspect of it is our ability to participate in it. In other words, our ability, you said, to make it last longer, but not just longer, but deeper. In other words, the key test is it's a deep sense of calmness. Calmness is the side effect of attention, paying attention. So when we're able to include more and more in our attention, and our attention so becomes deeper and deeper and more inclusive, then we can pass a hierarchy test, or then we can, as Vernon says, enjoy the love of our training on a deeper and deeper level.
Okay.
Right? Okay, so thank you.
Thank you.
That's really a good question, because there's always a little confusion about this idea of relative and absolute. The absolute universe is that which is everything all the time. But there's no way, as human beings, because we are relative creatures, there's no way that we can participate perfectly in everything all the time. At all times. There's no way we can do that. That we don't have, no one has that capacity. I mean, I watched Toy Sensei, and he was as developed as anyone I'd ever been around. And he often wasn't perfect. But that doesn't matter. We still practice. The earth is here. This time we're spending is for practice. That's what we're doing. We're practicing to increase our capacity of attention and build a deeper and deeper experience of this humanity, this being human, and exchanging and this feeling with each other, this connection. Aikido practice is perfect practice for this. There are other very nice practices, but I really love Aikido as the perfect example of this practice, primarily because of ki testing, because it gives us the opportunity for you and I together to explore and realize and maintain, practice maintaining our mind-body unification, our stable state of mind. And of course, then we can practice that more and more in our daily life. All right, someone else, please. Olaf, would you comment on this, please? Olaf Schubert, are you there?
I'm here, Sensei. Coming out of the dark. Yeah, this is a very interesting topic. During practice this week, we actually came across the very same subject on what you were discussing today. And this giving ki test properly, as you said, that the ki goes to infinity, and only if and when the examinee is not maintaining one point, then miraculously the hand goes further without my decision that it should go further now. But it's so hard to do, to actually not do anything.
Yeah.
Just let it go. So
allowing it to happen.
Exactly.
I mean, isn't this everything in our daily life? That's why this is so critically important to our practice, to understand the difference between us pushing the person and us allowing the hand to move when it's time for it to move, or noticing that it doesn't move, even better, right? Yeah, so this is really encompasses our way of responding to everything in every moment in our world. That's the fundamental principle that we're learning. Suzuki Sensei's so what? Be natural. Do nothing. Don't worry, be happy. Doing nothing. Being natural. Yeah, it may feel natural to push, but that's just a normal reaction. That's not natural, according to our highest principles. And it won't be long now for all of us, and we'll be back in the dojo practicing. I'll even be in Europe practicing with you. Physically, we'll be standing looking at each other again. And this is so wonderful because, well, it's been 2 years. And it's been 3 years since I've been to Europe, but it's been 2 years since we've been in our dojos practicing actively. That's, of course, many people have exceptions to that, but in my dojo, it's been 2 years. And so we're finally getting to open at the end of this month. And, of course, the first thing we'll practice, I suspect, will be ki testing. Just checking to see how we're doing, how have we been doing. And if you've been with me for these 2 years in these Zoom sessions, practicing together, I think we'll probably have a deeper understanding. Certainly conceptually. Whether whether it's experientially or not. We'll find out when we meet each other again. So, yes, aloha. Thank you very much. And we'll see each other very soon. All right? Take care. Bye-bye. Domo arigatou gozaimashita.